Sheldon Cooper wasn't like most kids. From a very young age, it was clear that Sheldon had a unique way of seeing the world. While other children were busy with toys and games, Sheldon was captivated by the mysteries hidden within the pages of books. He preferred books to buddies. The library became his sanctuary, a place where he could explore new worlds and ideas without interruption. His room, filled with stacks of books, was his personal haven. While other kids played tag, Sheldon studied. He found joy in learning about the universe, the laws of physics, and the complexities of mathematics. The playground held no allure for him. The real adventure was in the knowledge he could gain. He loved science and math. These subjects weren't just schoolwork for Sheldon, they were his passion. He would spend hours solving equations and conducting experiments, always eager to discover something new. His brain was like a sponge, soaking up information. Every fact, every theory, every piece of data was absorbed and stored away, ready to be used in his next intellectual pursuit. He found comfort in facts and figures. Numbers and formulas made sense to him in a way that the social dynamics of childhood never did. They were predictable, reliable, and always there for him. Sheldon lived in a small town in Texas. It was a place where everyone knew each other, and traditions ran deep. The community was close-knit, and everyone had their role to play. It was a place where people liked football and church. Sheldon, however, was different. While others found joy in the local football games and Sunday services, Sheldon found his joy in the quiet solitude of his books. He didn't understand sports or religion. The rules of football seemed arbitrary, and the rituals of church were a mystery to him. He couldn't see the appeal in either. He'd rather read about physics. The laws of the universe, the principles that governed everything from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy, these were the things that fascinated him. His family found him unusual. They loved him dearly, but they couldn't quite understand his obsession with learning. To them, he was a puzzle, a brilliant but enigmatic child. His dad, George, just didn't get him. George was a man's man, someone who enjoyed the simple pleasures of life, like fishing and watching sports. He couldn't relate to Sheldon's intellectual pursuits. His mom, Mary, tried her best to understand. She saw the spark of genius in her son and did everything she could to nurture it. She encouraged his love of learning even if she didn't always understand it. She knew he was special. Mary believed that Sheldon was destined for great things, and she was determined to support him every step of the way, but she also wanted him to have friends. She worried that his solitary nature would leave him lonely, and she encouraged him to play with other children, hoping he would find a balance. Sheldon was happy with his books. To him, they were the best companions he could ask for. They never judged him, never misunderstood him, and always had something new to offer. He didn't really see the need for friends. The other kids seemed to live in a different world, one that didn't make much sense to him. He was content in his own world of knowledge. They just seemed loud and messy to him. The noise and chaos of their games were a stark contrast to the quiet order of his books. He preferred the latter. He was content in his own little world, surrounded by books and immersed in learning. Sheldon found a sense of peace and fulfillment that nothing else could provide. As Sheldon grew older, he met some kids. These encounters were the beginning of his journey into the world of friendship, a concept that was as foreign to him as the idea of not knowing the answer to a math problem. There was Tam, the Vietnamese boy who lived next door. Tam was a curious and energetic kid, always eager to explore new things and share his discoveries with Sheldon.
Hey Sheldon, have you read the latest comic book? It's amazing! The illustrations are so cool, and the story is just mind-blowing.
Tam liked comic books just as much as Sheldon did. They would sit for hours, flipping through the colorful pages, discussing every plot twist and character arc in great detail. They spent hours talking about superheroes and villains, debating who was the strongest and who had the best superpowers. Their conversations were filled with excitement and laughter. Then there was Billy Sparks. Billy wasn't very smart, but he had a heart of gold. He was always getting into trouble, whether it was for pulling pranks or forgetting his homework. He was always getting into trouble. Teachers would often scold him, and he would just shrug it off with a sheepish grin. But he was nice to Sheldon. Despite his mischievous nature, Billy had a soft spot for Sheldon and would often stand up for him when other kids teased him. He even tried to teach him how to play football. Billy was patient, showing Sheldon the basics and encouraging him to keep trying even when he fumbled the ball. And then there was Missy, Sheldon's twin sister. Missy was the complete opposite of Sheldon, outgoing, social, and always ready for an adventure.
Sheldon, you're so weird, but I love you anyway. You're my brother and nothing will ever change that.
Missy didn't understand Sheldon at all. She found his obsession with science and his lack of social skills baffling. She thought he was weird. His peculiar habits and unique way of thinking often left her scratching her head in confusion. But she loved him anyway. Despite their differences, there was a bond between them that was unbreakable. She was always there for him, even when he was driving her crazy. Whether it was helping him with a science project or just listening to him ramble about his latest theory, Missy was a constant presence in Sheldon's life. Sheldon started to realize that friends weren't so bad. They brought new experiences and perspectives into his life, challenging him to step out of his comfort zone. They could be fun sometimes. The laughter and joy they shared were moments Sheldon began to cherish. They could also be annoying. Arguments and misunderstandings were part of the package, but Sheldon learned that these were just small bumps on the road of friendship. But they were important. These relationships, with all their ups and downs, were shaping him into a more well-rounded person. When Sheldon turned 11, his life changed. It was a milestone that marked the beginning of a new chapter, filled with both excitement and challenges. He was no longer just a little boy, he was stepping into the complex world of adolescence. He went to high school with his older brother, Georgie. High school was tough. The hallways were crowded and the classes were more demanding. It was a place where he had to navigate not just academics but also social dynamics. The other kids were bigger and louder, they seemed to fit in effortlessly, while Sheldon often felt like an outsider. The noise and chaos of the school environment were overwhelming for someone who preferred the quiet and order of his own thoughts. Sheldon felt even more different. His interests and intellect set him apart, making it hard for him to connect with his peers. He often found himself sitting alone, feeling like he didn't quite belong. But he made some new friends. Slowly but surely, he found a small group of kids who appreciated him for who he was. They welcomed him into their circle, and for the first time, Sheldon felt a sense of belonging. There was Paige Swanson, a girl who was even smarter than Sheldon. She was a prodigy in her own right, excelling in subjects that even Sheldon found challenging. Their intellectual rivalry pushed both of them to new heights.
Sheldon, have you considered this theory? It might change your perspective. Paige often introduced Sheldon to new ideas and concepts, broadening his horizons and challenging his preconceived notions.
Paige challenged him. Their debates were intense and passionate, each one pushing the other to think more critically and creatively. It was a dynamic that fueled their mutual respect and admiration. She made him think in new ways. Paige's unique perspective and relentless curiosity inspired Sheldon to look at problems from different angles, fostering a deeper understanding of the world around him. They had a rivalry, but they also respected each other. Their competition was never mean-spirited. It was a driving force that made both of them better. They knew that their rivalry was a testament to their abilities and mutual respect. Then there was Dr. John Sturgis, Meemaw's boyfriend. He was a man of science, with a mind as curious and brilliant as Sheldon's. His relationship with Meemaw brought him into Sheldon's life, adding another layer of mentorship and friendship.
Sheldon, you have a brilliant mind. Let's explore the wonders of science together. Dr. Sturgis saw the potential in Sheldon and took him under his wing, guiding him through the complexities of scientific inquiry.
Dr. Sturgis was a scientist, just like Sheldon wanted to be. He embodied the kind of future Sheldon aspired to, providing a living example of what was possible with dedication and passion. He understood Sheldon in a way that no one else did. Their conversations were filled with deep insights and shared enthusiasm for discovery. Dr. Sturgis became a confidant and a source of wisdom. He became Sheldon's mentor, teaching him about science and life. Through their interactions, Sheldon learned not just about scientific principles but also about perseverance, curiosity, and the joy of learning. Dr. Sturgis's influence was profound, shaping Sheldon's journey through adolescence and beyond. Sheldon's Meemaw was something else. She was his mom's mom. She loved to gamble and drink. She wasn't afraid to speak her mind. Meemaw saw something special in Sheldon. She knew he was different, but she also knew he was a good person.
Sheldon, it's okay to be different. Just remember, family is important.
Meemaw taught Sheldon about the world. She told him stories about her life. She gave him advice, even when he didn't want to hear it. She taught him that it's okay to be different. She also taught him the importance of family. Sheldon loved science. He watched every episode of Professor Proton's show. Professor Proton was his hero. He made science fun and exciting. Sheldon dreamed of being a scientist one day. Professor Proton showed him it was possible. Professor Proton was more than just a TV personality to Sheldon. He represented the wonders of science and the pursuit of knowledge. His experiments, though presented in a simplified way, sparked a curiosity in Sheldon that fueled his desire to learn. Section 6. The birth of a bromance. Sheldon and Leonard, an unlikely pair. When Sheldon went to college, he met Leonard Hofstadter. Leonard was also a scientist, but that's about all they had in common. Leonard was messy and disorganized. Sheldon was neat and orderly. Leonard loved comic books and science fiction. Sheldon thought they were silly, but somehow, they became friends. Maybe it was because they were both different. Maybe it was because they both loved science. Whatever the reason, they became roommates and best friends. Section 7. Navigating the Labyrinth of Geekdom. Howard and Raj enter the scene. Leonard introduced Sheldon to his other friends, Howard Wolowitz and Rajesh Kuthrapalli. Howard was an engineer. He thought he was a ladies' man. He was always trying to pick up women. Raj was an astrophysicist. He was very shy. He could only talk to women when he was drinking. Sheldon thought Howard and Raj were strange. He didn't understand their jokes. He didn't get their obsession with women, but he learned to tolerate them. They were Leonard's friends after all. Section 8. The power of understanding and acceptance. Sheldon's evolving social landscape. Sheldon's friends were important to him. They taught him a lot about life. They taught him about friendship. They taught him about love. They even taught him a little bit about himself. Sheldon was still Sheldon. He was still quirky and eccentric. He still loved science more than anything. But he was learning to be more open-minded. He was learning to accept people for who they were. Section 9. The enduring impact of friendship, a foundation for growth and connection. Sheldon's journey through friendship was not always easy, but it was worth it. His friends helped him grow, they helped him learn, they helped him become a better person. Sheldon's story teaches us about the importance of friendship. It teaches us that it's okay to be different. It teaches us that everyone needs someone to lean on. And it teaches us that even the quirkiest of people can find their tribe.